Welcome to the Sceptical Scotsman. Today, I'm doing this podcast from my living room because the wife is in the bedroom knitting, sewing, whatever she does. I want to first present you a list. Sorry, the camera's a little wobbly, the table stand it's on is a little shaky. Trade of Innocence, 2012. Lost Girls, 2016. A Child's Voice, 2018. Finding Home, 2014. I Am Still Here, 2017. Angie, Lost Girls, 2020. Very Young Girls, 2007. It's Happening Right Here, 2022. In Plain Sight, 2014. Trafficked, 2021. Trade, 2007. Pursuit of Freedom, 2022. 8 Days, 2014. Sold, 2014. Skin the Game, 2018. The movies I've just listed off are all a list of movies about human and child sex trafficking. The only reason I bring that up is because now there's a movie called Sound of Freedom, which just got released July 4th. And it claims to be the most profound look at child trafficking that there is, even though it's happening right here in 2022. It had the same claim. Now, The Sound of Freedom stars Jim Caviezel as, I think it's Tim Ballard, as somebody who goes out of his way, he goes rogue to rescue a child from child trafficking. And a lot of you have probably heard about this movie, and probably even some of you have probably even seen it. And the reason it's created so much controversy right now is because of its backing. The movie, I'm sure, covers child sex trafficking or child trafficking or human trafficking for that matter. And my biggest issue is I did some digging, and this doesn't take much time at all. I did a lot of research. 5 minutes every day looking into different sources and other stuff. And this movie is to the point where now if you haven't seen this movie or you claim this movie is just out to make a fast buck, or you refuse to go see the movie, you are pariahed out as supporting sex trafficking, which is not the truth. The truth is, this movie covers ground which has already been well covered and well documented and well represented by a lot of other movies. If you watch this movie, I'm not going to shit pan you. You can watch whatever movie you want, I don't care. But calling it the most important movie ever made about human sex trafficking is a false narrative. Jim Caviezel, or Jim Caviezel, however you want to pronounce it. They pronounce it Caviezel on the news, even though it's Caviezel, or Caviezel. He is a staunch, right-wing, conservative Christian, bordering on extremism, because he already came out as supporting several QAnon theories. QAnon, if you're not familiar with them, is a conservative Christian right-wing organization which promotes conspiracy theories. Why do I throw Jim Caviezel in with that group? It's because he backs several of their conspiracy theories in this movie alone. I'm not saying the movie isn't without merit and doesn't show scenes that are that you would actually witness, but it appeals to the conservative Christian nature, and it has backing from the guy who actually lived at Pollard, and it gets backing by OWR. I forget what that organization's actual acronym stands for. If you want to go see the movie, fine. If you don't. I'm not going to see it. I have no problem with that. I'm not for child sex trafficking, or human trafficking at all. I'm not. Haven't been, ever. And this extremist view that if you don't watch this movie, you're for human trafficking is complete and utter extremist nonsense. Now, this movie cost about $14 million to make. Almost all of it came from Angel Films. And Angel Films, once you do a little more digging, confirms that more than a third of the movie's budget comes from QAnon-supported crowdfunding. I would not support pretty much any movie that is backed by QAnon for being accurate, because they are not an accurate group. They only back certain movies, and I'm not a believer in all these QAnon theories. As like in the press junket that Jim Caviezel did, he has openly stated that the reason the reason that child sex trafficking or even child trafficking exists is for adrenochrome harvesting, blood harvesting, basically. The issue with that is if you actually look up adrenochrome, he says it's to make the Democratic elite immortal and the Hollywood elite immortal. The problem with this is that was debunked in the 1970s. They did research back in the day, we're talking like the 60s and 70s. Adrenochrome is the residue left over after adrenaline is rushed in the system. And it's also been scientifically proven. It's a niche thing. But they have proven scientifically that adrenochrome actually promotes schizophrenia. So why would a bunch of Democratic elites be harvesting children's blood for adrenochrome? What, to go crazy? To have schizophrenia? I don't think so. This is a far right-wing extremist theory that QAnon backs and supports. And Jim Caviezel backs this claim up with no evidence. He claims what QAnon claims, even though there's absolutely no scientific backing to it. So all the crap that you hear from Alex Jones or anybody who's on QAnon about child blood harvesting is utter nonsense. And yes, this is one of the motivations that made Jim Caviezel accept this role. Then you have Tom Pollard's story itself. They've already done digging as far as they can, and they've found that he has embellished most of his narrative. I'm not joking. I actually looked this. I went. You can call it a deep dive, but it's not really a deep dive. You don't have to look hard to find this. Tom Pollard, correct me if I'm wrong in saying Tom instead of Tim, but I think it's Tom Pollard. He embellishes what he did. He went rogue on one of the government agencies, which means he would no longer be a part of it. and him saying it was just the right thing to do, I might buy that if he weren't such a braggart. And then he said he founded or co-founded or some crap, OWR. Again, I don't know the acronym they stand for. But they've actually been cited as conducting stings on groups of sex workers who are not being trafficked at all. If you're not being trafficked, if you're not being forcibly trafficked to have sex or sell yourself to other people for money, it's not trafficking. And they have other legitimate organizations that pay attention to human sex trafficking and human trafficking, period, have literally come out and it's been legally repudiated that they break the rules, just like Tom Pollard did. They break the rules. They have disregard for human life, even though they claim to be for human life. And it does not take much digging to find this out. Just do a little bit of scratching. It doesn't take much time to figure this out. And now on Facebook, they're airing Jim Caviezel quotes saying, well, they're shaking their boots because we're competing against summer blockbusters. Well, when QAnon supplies at least $4 to $5 million of a $14 million budget, and they're funneling their money through Angel Films, which is a movie service that caters to conservative Christian moviegoers who don't want to hear swearing, sex, or anything else, you have a problem. They're creating their own narrative. Because if you saw any movies that actually display human trafficking and sex trafficking and child and sex trafficking, you'd probably vomit and never watch the movie again. Yet a whole slew of people are going to see it, because QAnon funded it, and QAnon and other conservative right-wing establishment groups are promoting this movie. I went to go see Indiana Jones 5. Yes, I liked the movie. Could have been better, yes, but it did its job. It ended the Indiana Jones movie series. I'm not against watching The Sound of Freedom. What I am against is watching movies about child abduction and child trafficking and the like. There are several movies which became huge hits, like The Call, which was about child abduction. I don't go to the theaters to watch those movies. I've never even seen The Call. There's another one with Hugh Jackman, I forget the name of it now. I know at least two of you are screaming the name at me, I just don't remember what they are because I didn't write them down. It stars Hugh Jackman, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal. As a parent, I don't go see these movies. I don't give a shit if they won, like, a record number of Oscars at the Oscars. As a parent, I don't go watch these movies because I don't want those movies helping somebody who gets it in their mind to abduct children. I don't support those movies financially. I might download it and watch it once. Like I saw The Lovely Bones, which was a child abduction movie. I saw it once. Then I erased the movie. I'm not kidding. Literally 30 minutes after watching it, I deleted the movie off my computer after watching it. Once. Just like Joker. Joker was a hideous movie, and yet it was amazingly popular at the box office. And if you're a parent, or have been a parent, I'm not saying to go watch it, but I'm saying if you have an ethical mind, you wouldn't go see this movie. But the ethics are, if this movie becomes a blockbuster, they're going to make a part 2. No matter how outlandish the plot line is in the first movie. They will make another one just to get your money. I don't help fund movies like that. And by buying a ticket and keep buying a ticket to go watch it, you're propelling and being a proponent of these kind of movies. I don't support it. If you do that, it's on you. If you're a parent of a child, I wouldn't advise it, but again, it's free choice. I'm not going to take away your choice of movie you want to watch. I just don't watch it because I don't want to watch the first, second, or third worst thing that can ever happen to a parent to their young child. I just don't do it. It's abhorring to me. And all these people are like, well, what does blood harvesting got to do with the movie? Jim Caviezel openly backed this as a reason for child trafficking. So you're by him stating that, he's stating that yes, blood harvesting is a reason for child trafficking. I don't support child trafficking. I don't support blood harvesting. And why would anybody try to harvest something in a blood that can cause schizophrenia? Like I said, I've done research. I didn't just come up here and with 30 seconds notice, like, I'm just going to bash on this theory. I looked it up. I actually looked at adrenochrome. I Wikipedia'd it. I read articles, and Jim Caviezel's like, well, if you don't support this movie, you're for child trafficking. No, that's why I don't go see it, because I don't want to support child trafficking. Because you don't know if some warlord in South America is watching it. Ooh, I can do this now. No, I'm not going to support that shit. I don't support it financially at all. My dollars will not go to watch that movie. My dollars do not go to support child abduction movies of any kind. I don't care how realistic it is. I'd just rather download the movie when it comes out on digital and watch it for free. Because I'm not enabling them to spend more money making a sequel, which could help another deviant come up with an idea how to make the perfect child abduction or how to sell them with and get away with it. I will not do it. You don't have to agree with it. I'm just letting you know what my beliefs are. And then there's the fact that Mel Gibson backs this movie. That just makes it worse. And yes, apparently Mel Gibson is now coming up with he's going to be coming up with Passion of the Christ 2. I don't like to be a naysayer, but you already covered everything in Passion of the Christ. And Jim Caviezel is not that good a star. I mean, he did Passion of the Christ. I saw it once. Haven't seen it since. I have it on disc. Am I going to watch it again? Probably around Easter or some crap. I don't know. But am I going to go see a second one to see the resurrection? No. They covered everything in the first movie. Mel Gibson backing this movie does not make it a legitimate excuse to make the movie. If anything, it undermines the ability to stop making far-fetched and outlandish scenarios which child abductors can then emulate. Again, you don't have to like my point of view. And I'm not saying that child trafficking is right by any means. I've been against it for years. Do I think that sex or human trafficking is okay? No, I don't. As I've already stated. Jim Caviezel he's an active member of the QAnon conspiracy chain letter thing. He openly buys into these theories, which are outlandish and stupid. And I think that if you go see it because of Jim Caviezel, or you enjoy his political stance or his religious stance, I think you're being less than honest about yourself about why you're going to see the movie. I'm not going to see this movie. I might see it once on digital download. I don't know. I've decided. But I'm not going to put my money into that pot so they can make another movie just like it so that QAnon can advertise this movie to conservative Christian websites, and you have to see this movie. This is what it's really like. If it doesn't display certain acts, you're watching a watered down version of bullshit. The real stuff that happens in human trafficking, I mean, the really real stuff would make you throw up. And I don't mean to make this a short episode, but we're already on 21 minutes, and I just wanted to cover this for everybody who doesn't know this. And for people who say, well, QAnon didn't fund the movie. Yes, they did. I looked it up. I literally did the groundwork and researched it. They'll hide it from you. They'll claim you're against all this crap when you aren't. They'll do anything to promote this movie and how it's the most realistic look at. No, it's not. There have been movies made that would make you vomit if you saw them. They would make you, like all the stuff you heard about the Passion of Christ, people leaving the theaters, passing out, having heart attacks, dying in the theater. You do that if you actually saw what child sex trafficking or child trafficking was actually like. This movie is just a watered down version of it, and because Jim Caviezel is behind it, and a lot of conservative Christians are behind him, does not make it a good movie. You don't have to take my word for it. Watch the movie if you want. I don't advise it, but you make your own decisions. That's what it is to be human. That's what it is to be American. You watch it if you want. I am not supporting this movie. I'm not promoting this movie. I'm telling you the flat out truth. And if you say that it's only my opinion, it might be my opinion, but at least I come by it honestly by digging for the information that I wanted to know. Because I first heard about this movie right after the 4th of July, and then when it started making waves, I looked into it. I looked up Wikipedia, I looked up several sources, and people are like, well, you liked Cuties, didn't you? Cuties was all about exploiting preteen girls that were shaking their asses on stage. I never watched Cutie. How many of y'all have watched Tiger King? Yeah, I'm serious. How many of you watched Tiger King? I have never seen it. How many of you watched Cuties? I've never seen it. Never wanted to. Never wanted to watch Tiger King. I don't even watch, what is that show, Dance Moms or whatever, with that fat chick with the long black hair who pushes girls. I think it's Dance Moms or some shit. I don't know. I don't watch it either. I heard about it from the news. Just like Honey Boo Boo and Duck Dynasty. I've seen like bits and pieces of 3 episodes of Duck Dynasty. Honey Boo Boo, I've never actually seen an actual episode. I've seen clips, and that's all I care to see. Now, with all those objections, you now know the controversy. It's a QAnon-backed and promoted conservative Christian right-wing movie with extremist ties and extremist viewpoints thrown in there. The movie is based on Tom Pollard, who, according to official record, embellished the fuck out of his end of it. And OWR has a record of committing crimes against people they believe are sex trafficking who are not. They have and I realize not every organization is perfect. But when you're going to this extreme to make your point, which is a non-point, everybody knows that trafficking is going on. And that list of movies that I threw out, those are all about it. It's happening right here. Promises to be the most accurate look at human trafficking. Have I watched it? No. I don't watch movies like this because they help. When it makes so much money, they're tempted to make a sequel. They want to see they want to make another part to it to rake in more money. I'm not going to contribute to that. Anyway, now that you know what the movie's about, the backing, the funding, the QAnon link, and Jim Caviezel himself, maybe it'll be less apt to go there like a blind duck. Well, this is an amazing movie. He gives an amazing message. He gives a very old trope. He's appealing to right-wing conservative Christians and extremists based on their biases. And the only real good movie that I know that he's made, where he is one of the top actors, is Frequency. Frequency I'd recommend you see. It's actually a pretty good movie. I cried to it, but that had Randy Quaid in it. And no, I'm not a huge Randy Quaid fan either, but the premise of the story was amazing. So I suggest you go see Frequency. It's an old movie now. But as far as Sound of Freedom goes, I would ask that if you watch it with an open mind and realizing this movie is backed by some extremists who refuse to give up anything. Their views, their ties, their money. And according to them, this is the most realistic portrayal of human trafficking ever made, which is false. But you guys have a good day. Again, Sceptical Scotsman signing out. And you guys just have a great evening, and I hope you enjoy your day. Alright? Have fun.